Hello and welcome to another edition of AAA or Ask Autocar Anything, where we answer all your automotive queries, whether it's about a future model, your next car buy, or even something about tires. We, as in our team of experts, will be right with you and clear all your doubts. I'm Nikhil Bhatia and I'm joined today by
Soham Thakur.
And Ameya Dandekar.
Let's get going. So, the first question, now this is a hot topic, is from Subbu. So he says, I bought my beloved Hyundai Creta last year after months and months of deliberation and after checking more than 25 cars. Now, with this E20 nonsense going on, I'm not too sure I want to put my prized possession through all of this. My annual usage is about 4,000 to 5,000 kilometers and mostly in the city with occasional highway use. Please inform me which car I should go for or if I have to move to another vehicle. I'm not sure about an EV since my usage is low. Diesel is out of the question. Does that leave me with CNG?
So first of all, don't be worried. You don't have to get rid of your Creta. It's just 1 year old. And Creta is E20 compliant. And plus, manufacturers also design their engines around, there's some tolerances as well, as to they can go up to E25, E27 without much of an issue. But obviously with higher fuel blends, there will be accelerated wear for your not really expensive parts like rubber, hoses, or plastic parts. But apart from that, there will be a little slight reduction in fuel efficiency. But apart from that, you won't face much of an issue.
Yeah, and I think this ethanol is a very real issue, but it's a very real issue for older cars, which are E10 compliant, E20 compliant cars, which came from 2023 onwards, don't have this issue. And while the manufacturer will not give this to you in writing, they do develop the cars with, as Ameya said, a level of tolerance which can accept higher levels of ethanol in the fuel. In the long run, you will see a slightly lower fuel economy than you would get on E20, but it's not like your car will stop working the next day. It's a very prolonged wear cycle, and it is something that just taking care of your car will address.
And in fact, even with older cars with E10 compatibility, the wear is going to be very slow and gradual. Say, for example, if a normal rubber or a plastic part wears over 8 years, then with E20, it'll wear in 5 or 6 years. So that'll be the difference.
And, given that his running is also not that high, the other options that he's saying, should he buy an EV or a CNG or a diesel, it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
So yeah, keep the Creta. Considering your running is just 5,000 kilometers a year, the higher buying cost for an EV or a diesel, it doesn't really make sense to go for either of them. And considering your running is mostly in the city, diesel doesn't make sense at all because of DPF issues. Don't sell it. It's new. It's working well.
And so it will serve you for many years to come.
Okay, then coming to the next question. This is by Vikas K. And he wants to know if switching to an EV is a good decision since he doesn't have any prior experience with EVs. Nikhil?
Yep. So I think, Vikas, it completely depends on your environment. When I say that, I mean, if you have access to home charging, they make sense. If your driving is primarily within the city, you don't cover large distances, makes a lot of sense. The trouble with EVs is if you have a lot of long distance driving, because then you will have to account for charging stops. Charging an EV is a long drawn process. Even with the fastest of chargers that we have, you could stop for anywhere between half an hour to 4 or 5 hours, and that really spoils the flow of any journey. As city cars, EVs work really, really well. They're smooth, really easy to drive. I think they're the best kind of automatics as we've held. They're really easy to drive, very friendly, particularly if you are a new driver. The silence, the smoothness are things that you'll really like.
But yeah, one thing to be still wary about is resale value. Like we know, as it stands right now, resale value of EVs is comparatively low compared to petrol or diesel cars. So, but we'll have to see how that, grows over the next few years.
Just one thing to add. So if the usage is very predictable, for example, you go from point A to point B every day, or even your longer runs are defined and it is within the range of the EV that you're going to buy, then yes, EVs are absolutely
Yeah.
like they're no-brainers, right?
Yeah.
But if you do a lot of long distances, then you have to plan your trips, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get on to the next question. My usual running is approximately 500 kilometers in a month. I am a family of 3 plus 1 pet. We currently have a Kia Seltos 1.4 petrol DCT and want to upgrade to a bigger vehicle. Which would be suitable for my use between the Innova Hycross and the Skoda Kodiaq?
So Vaspan, since you're coming from a turbocharged SUV, I think the Skoda Kodiaq makes really good sense for you. Assuming you bought the Seltos for the way it drives and the punchy engine, and the Kodiaq also delivers in those terms. So, you get a strong 2-liter turbo petrol engine that's really good and fun to drive. And you also get the flexibility of a third row of seats, which I'm assuming you want. And yeah, I mean, it's not going to be very fuel efficient, especially compared to the high cross that you're also considering, if you're considering the strong hybrid, that is. But overall, the Kodiaq is going to feel a very good upgrade, in terms of quality, in terms of the premium cabin. And yeah, the fuel economy, again, like I said, is not going to be great. But
his running is just 500 kilometers in a month, so I don't think it'll pinch that much.
That is true.
But your driving experience is vastly better in Kodiaq. And as Soham already pointed out, that interior just feels so much richer than
That is
iCross.
yeah.
I mean, that feel-good factor, you can't put a price to that.
In fact, interior is one of the drawbacks of the Innova Hycross.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
but obviously, if
is-
you want a third row that is really usable, then the Hycross is a no-brainer.
Yeah, but
But otherwise, yeah, for short drives,
Yeah.
for everyday usage, for fun to drive, for the fun to drive factor,
Yeah.
Kodiaq is the choice.
And yeah, spare parts and maintenance,
Yeah.
being a Toyota is going to be better on the Hycross, but then the Kodiaq, you also get the benefit of all-wheel drive. So you have that added safety net. So it really depends on what your usage is like. But considering that you're coming from a Seltos turbo petrol DCT, I think the Kodiaq makes complete sense.
Absolutely.
So we'll move on to the next question. It comes from Ajit, who says, at present, I'm using a Ford Figo diesel. Now I'm planning to buy an SUV. Most of my driving is on highways and hilly roads. I'm 58 years old and my budget is under 15 lakh rupees. My choices are the Honda Elevate and the Hyundai Venue diesel. Which one is better for long-term ownership? And are there any other options I should consider?
So I'll take this one. I think in terms of long-term options, both are quite strong. One is Hyundai, one is Honda, and they have good reputation for reliability. Between the two, obviously, they come from two very different segments. One comes from sub-4 meter category, which is the Venue, which is smaller. Obviously, it'll have less amount of space, but it has a diesel engine, which the Elevate doesn't. So for hilly driving or for highway driving, it does have that edge in terms of be it overtaking or while taking steep climbs, or going uphill as well. Obviously, advantages of the Elevate are it is a bigger car. It is more comfortable for a family of 5 as well. It has a bigger boot. So Elevate has its advantages. But between the two, for his use case, I think the Venue diesel makes more sense. And in terms of other options, I think you can look at the Mahindra 3XO diesel manual as well.
He could consider a Kodiaq, coming from a Figo. He might, appreciate the ride and handling balance of a Skoda Kodiaq and the punchy engine that you get. So that is another option you could consider. But then, yeah, again, the Kodiaq is also a compact SUV, so it's not going to be as roomy as the Elevate. But if, rear seat space is not high on your priority list, then the Kodiaq also definitely is worth considering.
If he wants more rear seat space, the Syros diesel is there as well. So that is one more option where it is one of the most spacious sub-4 meter SUVs.
Yeah, I think it's Syros, unfortunately, maybe for the way it looks or how it was perceived as size to price, it's often overlooked, but it's a really good package.
Really well packaged car. Yeah, but out of the two that he's mentioned, the options, I think the Venue diesel makes the most sense. Okay, so another Ford owner looking to change. He owns a Ford EcoSport Titanium diesel and he has covered 1.32 lakh kilometers. So a lot of running. As he says, his daily running is over 100 kilometers and he's confused between the Maruti Suzuki Grand Vitara Strong Hybrid, the Maruti E Vitara and the Dzire AMT. and most of his driving is on highway and rural roads. So I'm going to start off with this one. I would suggest that he goes for the Grand Vitara strong hybrid. I think it just makes sense given his high running, daily running especially, and on a mix of highway and rural roads, I think he's really going to benefit from the zippy sort of performance of the strong hybrid, with the hybrid assist. And also you'll easily get 20 plus kpl, so it's really, you're going to benefit from those lower running costs. And speaking of the e-Vitara, I think it only makes sense if he has access to home charging, because there's a lot of running. So you can do the daily running obviously on a single charge, but then again, I would suggest the hybrid is the better option.
And the e-Vitara also, he says that a lot of his driving on rural roads, it's not got the best ride comfort. So
That's true.
Another thing to keep in mind. I don't think it's the ideal car for him. It's not a bad option if he has access to easy charging, but I don't think it's the best option. I would back you up. I think the Grand Vitara strong hybrid would be the best. And Ameya, what are your thoughts on the Desire as an option?
Desire, I feel, as he said, like with the Desire, I would go for the CNG variant. But again, with CNG, there are queues that you have to wait for before filling CNG. And then again, you have to plan your trips better that way. So considering that, I think hybrid is the best option.
And also, since he's going to drive on highways and rural roads a lot, the Desire is not going to feel as comfortable or as composed as the Grand Vitara.
True.
Because you get that solid suspension, a great ride quality, and that elevated seating.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say stick to the Grand Vitara hybrid.
I own a 2017 Corolla Altis. I'm considering to buy the Skoda Kushaq as it fits my requirement in terms of size and dimensions. I find the Seltos and Duster too bulky. My running will be 80% in the city and occasionally on highways. I like 1.5, but I'm concerned about its performance in city traffic. I want to know if Kushaq 1.1 liter will address my requirements. Also want to know if the AC in the facelift is good enough.
So I'll take this one up because I've spent a lot of time with the Kushaq. So
and you did the AC test.
Yes. Yeah. So the Kushaq, as you have rightly said, that while it is smaller than its rivals, and many people avoid it for that very reason, it's also a virtue to others who live in very congested cities or have tight parking spaces. As you guys would agree, it feels the easiest to park and maneuver in smaller towns. So it's a good choice to go for the Kushaq for your requirements. Now, as for the Kushaq 1.5, it is a great car to drive. It is the most enjoyable of the mid-size SUVs.
Definitely.
Lovely engine, good gearbox when you are out on the open road, great handling. So it's a thoroughly enjoyable car. But when you're driving in the city, you will find the DSG slightly jerky at low speeds, and you can't really make the most of the performance. I mean, it feels incrementally better than a 1 liter because you can't go that fast in city driving conditions. The 1 liter, it's a nice engine, particularly paired with the
8-speed automatic.
8-speed automatic.
Yeah.
So in terms of fuel efficiency as well, there will be an improvement because it's a 8-speed torque converter automatic.
Yeah, like you said, the 1 liter comes with the torque converter automatic. So it's going to feel more smoother in the city where he's going to drive majority. 1.5 comes with the DSG, which can feel a little jerky at low speeds.
Yeah.
It's only if you do a lot of highway driving, then the 1.5 makes sense.
AC, the main question.
Yes, the Kushaq did have the weakest AC in the segment at launch, and it is something that Skoda and the whole Volkswagen group has really gone to town to address. The new compressor has totally transformed the cooling capabilities on the Kushaq. We just did our AC test, and would you believe it, from the worst performing air conditioner, the Kushaq and Volkswagen Tiguan now have the best performing ACs. So if you are interested in the Kushaq, AC cooling should definitely not be a roadblock. And that's all the time we have for your questions this week. Thank you so much for sending in all your queries and trusting us with your new car or bike buying decisions and all your queries about cars, bikes, and everything in this universe. If you're new to the channel, please do hit the like button, subscribe to Autocar India, and keep those questions coming in at autocarindia.com/advice. Thank you for watching.